Hello, everybody. Tracy, Mrs. JDog Flanagan with you here today. I'm the co-founder and senior vice president at JDog Brands. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tactical Treasures podcast, sponsored by the JDog Foundation. Our podcast gives veterans, male spouses, active military members, military family members, and patriotic military supporters a voice in the veteran space to speak about their service, how they're affecting their communities post-service, and they share with me a tactical treasure that has shaped their journey in their military career, business, or life. Today, I am so excited to have with me Mike Meyers, who is a retired 23-year Army combat veteran. He joined the Army in January of 2000 and then commissioned in 2005 from ROTC as a second lieutenant in the Quartermaster Corps. In 2006, Mike deployed to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom during the surge. Currently, he is the CEO and founder of the Military Basketball Association, dating back to the summer of 2017, and serves as the current commissioner. As a volunteer head coach for over 20 years, Mike Meyers has been one of the leaders in the effort to support military basketball with a globally established volunteer association. He is one of the pioneers to bring military basketball to the world as a tool to prevent harmful behaviors. Mike has contributed over 20,000 hours of volunteer service in various communities and utilizes the military basketball platform as a method to provide active duty service members recreation while off duty. Hello, Mike. Thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the podcast, and thank you so much for your service to our country, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm just honored to be here, Tracy.
Okay, that's great. Well, I'm really happy to have you, and I'm excited to get into our discussion. Um, but I would first like to ask you, what inspired you to join the Army?
To join the Army, I always wanted to join the Army, just from as a kid. I loved serving. I loved watching the old movies of our nation's heroes, war movies, and I'm a Star Trek fan, so I like Captain Kirk, and I've always had some type of calling to serve. And around 1999, 2000, I said, why not? Why not do the thing that you've always loved and that you've always wanted to do and serve your country? So it's kind of been with me all my life.
Wow. Wow, that's really, I love that. That's so interesting that, you always knew you kind of had a calling to serve the country. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So is there a particular aspect or moment from your service that stood out as impactful in a positive way for you?
Yes. I think my deployment in 2006 and 2008, it was, I'd gone over to war, at a time when, it wasn't necessarily, country was divided on what was happening over there. And I realized that that moment was a historical moment. I remember the actual footsteps stepping on the plane. And then I also remember the way I came home. At the time, I had a 6-year old, daughter, and
Oh, wow.
we left her. I was dual military, and me and my wife at the time had decided to serve together over there. We left our child with her grandparents, and that was very impactful because there's so
Yeah.
Americans that do that serve dual military, and the kids are affected. So I knew it was a historic moment for our country, but I also knew that I had a job and a calling to serve, and it was very, very impactful to me, and it stayed with me, and it has stayed with me for all my life.
Right, right. Oh, wow. So your wife was in the Army as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, she and I split, a few years after that, but um, had great moments together. Still, are in contact with each other. She's a great mom. Was one heck of a soldier, and it was just a very impactful time
Right.
for us. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. That's great that you obviously have a good relationship still. That's important. So, what was your transition like um, when you decided to retire?
To retire, wow, that's a good question. It was a little. difficult because you've been, for 23 years I was with this family, of soldiers, and it felt like I wasn't going to be a part of a family anymore. Like I was losing a part of that sense of connection to
Mm.
team and family. So my transition was great. I mean, administratively, I was able to get all my benefits and leave the service, with everything that I basically put in, and I was, semi healthy. I mean, you're not really totally whole when you leave 23 years, but it
Sure.
was it was a little difficult because you think, what are you going to do after you can't serve anymore? And it's not about necessarily financially being set, but more about just, what's it going to be like life after the military, after the army. And that's what gets a lot of people hung up today is you see a lot of people, lose that connection to family, and sometimes they spiral downhill.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that that's very much talked about in the military community, is just finding that sense of purpose again, and that new tribe, whatever that looks like, um so what was the journey to founding the MBA in 2017?
So it's a great question. My peers, people that I've known for over, 10 years or so, some over, close to 20, you know, we wanted to bring something to the community that the communities, military communities, could be proud of. And so, initially it was my own sense of grounding. I When I got back from the deployment, I suffered from post traumatic stress injury. I'd seen some things that no American should see, nobody should see.
Right.
And what happened was, I just decided to have the courage to come forward and get the services and help that I needed, to stay grounded. And one of those things was basketball. So once you start, coaching basketball and you're connected with other service members, and then you start winning a little bit, and you start having some success at some of these tournaments, I was able to, one, stay grounded, and two, I realized that this could be bigger than what it is currently. And so we decided to form an association, and I did a lot of the groundwork to try to get connected to as many military communities as we could, and then it just took off after COVID. I mean, when everyone was kind of shut in and closed down, and not really wanting to go out and socialize, once things opened back up after COVID, we decided to go to all kinds of different cities and universities, and put military basketball on display. So it's been a journey, but I am very proud of the work that we've done, the work that my peers have done, Angel Acevedo and Albert Mayon and Jason LaFasciano and Tara Ethington, and then our friends in the VA. It's just been an incredible journey, and the partners that we've gotten aligned with have just been amazing in supporting this mission.
That's great. That's awesome. So I love that you took something that helped you and said, "Hey, this is bigger than me. It could help others." I love that. Can you talk to me about kind of how the program works? Um, Obviously, they have to be able to play basketball, or I mean, do you teach them? Do you run clinics, or is it strictly you're a basketball player, you've served or you are serving, so come on, be on a team?
Yeah, so really, what the NBA is about are three main areas. Recruiting, resiliency, and retention. You know, and so for us, the recruiting aspect of it, if you want to play in the NBA, all you have to do is join the military. So when people ask us that question, we point them to the nearest recruiter. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so a lot of our players, the 1,000 of them that are in our league, they have already played the game of basketball. But what happens is they've had life circumstances. They weren't able to go to college. They weren't able to go pro, and they end up joining the service. And what we
Mm,
do is we
okay.
say, hey, look, if you've joined the service and you've got this incredible talent, come play in our league. And so That's the other one. The other aspect of it is the resiliency piece, and resiliency is something that we want every military service member or veteran to be building within them. It's not something that you just say you have resiliency. You want to build on it so that you stay away from any type of inclination for harmful behavior. And the last one is retention, right? So, I mean, if you are serving, you can come to one of our events. You don't have to play. You can be a fan. You can come out and support your base team, or you can come out and support your service, be it Air Force, Army, Navy, Air Force, or Space Force. And so it's just there's something in it for everyone, and we want people to be excited about service. And it kind of puts a new narrative on service. I mean, the most people, when you talk about the military, they ask you a couple questions about violence, or if you've been overseas, or if you've been to war, and that's not what serving in the military is all about. It's just not. These guys have a dog, they have a cat, or they work 9 to 5 jobs. Sometimes they work on weekends, but most of the time they work every day to support and serve our country, and then they play basketball for their resiliency on the weekends. So it's a great opportunity.
Right. And this is both for men and women teams.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
we've got 11 women's teams now across the country, and it's growing. It's really great opportunity.
Oh, wow, that's great. And so eh, do you, is there leagues? Where do you play? Like how does that
Yeah.
all
So
work?
we are the league.
Okay.
We are the
Okay.
association. So it's not NBA, but it's MBA. And so
Right. Yeah.
we are the NBA, and we're really proud of that. The league is divided up into 3 regions: a Pacific region, a Central region, and an Atlantic region.
Okay.
And there are teams, there are military bases within each of those regions, and those total close to over 30 to 40 teams. And then when you throw the women's teams in there, it bounces up to 50. And then we play the guys in Europe play an amazing season, and they're a part of what we do, and they get invited to our world championships in Philadelphia. And so they've got about 12 to 14 teams. So what we've done is we've said, you guys all play during a regular season, and then we're going to have a world championship final at the end, and then the championship game is going to be on CBS. And so it's a great opportunity, it's a great experience. And at each one of these events, VSOs and other partners are able to come out and engage the fans, the athletes, and their families, to support their mental health.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. So the league plays within itself.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Okay, that's how that works. You can tell I'm not really up on the basketball
Oh,
league
doing
thing.
great, Tracy.
Even though I watch March Madness, I it's so exciting.
It was
But
exciting. It was.
I know. I think my bracket was destroyed in the beginning.
Everyone's bracket was,
Yeah,
and you know,
right.
but we generate some of that similar excitement.
Okay.
We've
Yeah.
got last second shots, and the backstory. Some of the backstories on some of these athletes is just phenomenal. You find out that one of their players just got back from deployment, and you find out that one of their other players is getting ready to go on deployment. I mean, there's just a great backstory here, and
Wow.
it's just great to tell. I love talking about it.
That's neat. So, okay. So you just said May 1st, something big is happening. I think there's a
Absolutely.
documentary
Yeah.
too. So tell me all about this.
So one of the connections that we were able to make is with Amazon Military. And so I am just, every time I look them up and read about them, I've got a great contact at Amazon Military, Ian McDuffie. What Charlotte LaBelle and Ian are doing with Amazon Military for transitioning military, it's just phenomenal. And so, the biggest stressor when you leave the service is to you wonder where you're going to work, and so
Right.
what what Amazon Military does is they talk about how they're trying to give service members an opportunity for employment. It's a great cause. I think it's like 450,000 people they're trying to hire, I think, within Amazon. It's just a phenomenal effort of what they do. And through that contact, they were able to connect me to like Prime Video. And so we had shot a documentary about what we do and how sports, we believe, is kind of a tool and a mechanism to help people with their behavioral health. And I got a phone call one day coming back from one of our tournaments, and they were like, "Hey, I think they want the content. They want to put it on Amazon Prime." And we started that
Wow.
process. And May 1st, 2025, Life Through Basketball as a documentary will air, and we're absolutely proud of it. And you'll hear some stories from some of our people within the NBA, but you're also going to hear stories from veterans and people within the VA that help service veterans. So it's just great.
Hello, viewers and listeners. Are you a military veteran or military family member and looking to own your own business? If so, go to jdog.com and check out our two veteran focused franchises, JDog Junk Removal and Hauling and JDog Carpet Cleaning and Floor Care. Our franchisees nationwide are always looking to hire fellow veterans and patriots. JDog is the world's largest military franchise system with hundreds of locations nationwide. We are nearly 90% veteran owned with the goal of reducing the veteran unemployment rate to under 1%. Check us out. Go to jdog.com to learn more. Now, back to the podcast. Wow. Oh my gosh, you must be so proud. Oh, I'm excited. I'm going to have to mark my calendar. I can't wait to catch it.
I am. I'm like, midnight, please come. Midnight on the 24th. I'm gonna be like,
Right.
it's gonna be phenomenal.
Oh, that's neat. So, talk to me about the CBS Network Men's Championship game.
Whew, that was a doozy. I mean, I had some great contacts at CBS now, but I will tell you, Betty Diaz from Paramount Veterans Network, just a phenomenal person who's on fire for veterans. She just every day wakes up trying to support vets. And so it's a funny story. I was, I do a lot of cold calling, trying to get businesses to help donate and support the NBA.
Sure.
And I sent this link out to Betty Diaz on LinkedIn, and because I thought she worked for NBC, and I was just really trying to get this our game on television. So I thought that was a television platform, Paramount Veterans Network, but really it was a network to help veterans get connected. And
Okay.
that conversation went from, you know, uh, no, we don't have a channel, but I can connect you to people that do, to her coming on board fully and supporting us in 2023. And I don't know how this happened, but Memorial Day weekend, CBS Sports Network opened their calendar and they had the exact time open for an event.
Wow. Wow.
so And so from there, it turned into a 3-year agreement. And then this year, we're going to have the women's game show as a doubleheader. So it's just been, I don't know if I don't believe in luck. I believe in being, blessed. And so I
Right.
attribute all that to, uh, my faith and
Yeah.
God just really looking out for me.
Opening doors for you
Opening,
and you just walking through in faith. I love it.
absolutely.
So when's that game? CBS Network Men's Championship game. When is
So
that?
May 25th,
Okay.
2025, the women's game will tip at 5:30 and the men's game will tip at 8 o'clock
Oh wow. I love it.
Eastern
I've
time.
two questions, follow-up questions. So first, how do people apply? Like if there's a woman or a man veteran that says, hears about you and says, wow, I played basketball through high school and I'm one of those people that thought I could go to college and play basketball, didn't work out, and here I am in the military. How do they get connected with you? How do they apply? And then my second question is how are you funded?
Well, I'll get the second question, sure. But the first question, you can go to mymbaglobal.com and you can look up teams and standings. That's mymbaglobal.com. And that's how you can find out if there's a team in your area. Nine
Okay.
times out of 10, if you're at a military base, there's a team in your area. And so that's one way. You can follow us on Facebook or LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and you'll see the things that we post. And a lot of times there's content coming from games or events happening in your area. So that's the first way. It's just through social media or through mymbaglobal.com.
Okay.
And then the second question, these athletes fund themselves. We've got
Okay.
some great partners that are helping us. I mean, like I mentioned one, Amazon Military. Wounded Warrior Project has just been with us since 2021. They're a phenomenal organization, and they do a lot of good for veterans or military that are in transition. But we're self funded. I mean, the athletes play for their travel, their airfare, their lodging, their meals. They take care of it on their own. We want to change that, and so that's why
Mm,
I'm out there every day trying to find folks that really could donate to our nonprofit.
okay. So the MBA is a nonprofit organization.
Absolutely, we are a
Okay.
501c3.
Okay. And so if just regular people hear about this, and or even if it's like mom and dad and their son serving and they're going to play in the NBA and they think, wow, I'd love to donate. Can they do that?
They can. mymbaglobal.com, and there's a donate tab right there.
Okay.
We have a great organization called New Horizons that handles all of that for us, and that is just the best way for you to get involved. And we'll take anything. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Your support is definitely needed.
Yeah, that's great. All right. Great information. All right. So I love this. I think it's awesome. You've shared so much today. But I have a couple additional questions.
Yes, ma'am.
One is, Mike, this is the Tactical Treasures podcast. So I have to ask you, what is your tactical treasure that you want to share with us today?
Tactical treasure. Hmm. Now, am I talking about like a?
It could be physical. It's something that has helped you in your life's journey. Physical, mentoring relationship, motto you live by.
I will tell you what my tactical treasure is. It is physical. Um, I work. I went through a tough period in my life, and I was a little overweight. I wasn't in shape, and then I got to a point where I had to come back, and so I do 1,000 crunches a day,
Oh, wow.
and I do 1,000 crunches, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, 100 lat pull downs. And it's just a routine that I've kept for maybe 5 or 6 years. And so while I'm doing, and then I run 3 miles. So I do that every single day, or the days that I'm free and I can fit in that type of workout. And so why that's important and why it's a tactical treasure is even 2 years removed from the military, I still have the discipline to keep that moving forward. And so I think that's important. It's probably going to do me some service later in my life. But at my age, I really feel confident about that routine, and so that's
Hmm.
something that I treasure. I'm in Lifetime all the time, and people are like, "What are you doing?" But I'm knocking them out.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, that's your mantra. I love that. I'm the same way. When I'm not doing JDog, I dance 3 times a week.
Okay.
I'm in a small local dance company, and I work out every single morning. And if I don't, couple things, if I don't get my prayer time in, my time with God, and my workout, my day is a mess.
Oh,
If I don't get those two things in, you know, but it's a mantra, it's a lifestyle,
it is.
and working out, it's healthy. It's so needed, especially as we age, right?
It is.
Um,
Absolutely.
I think it has a lot to do with how well we age. So I love that. I love that tactical treasure. I think it's awesome.
Well, I will tell you this: you age better than me.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm fighting it every day, though.
I'll tell you, there are days I wake up and I feel like I'm 65 years old, and then there's other days where I wake up and I'm not. I know I'm not 65 years old, but I'm actually my age. And then there are days when I wake up and I feel like I'm a 25-year-old, 27-year-old, man.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
but the discipline to that tactical treasure,
Right.
your tactical treasure or mine, the discipline to stick to it is what I think is so important.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. I love it. I think it's a great tactical treasure. So, my last question for you: any advice for your fellow veterans that are struggling with transition or, PTS injury from what they've seen at war?
Well, I like the way you frame that because PTS is about all that is. It is, I mean, you can put the I in there, but just don't use the PTSD because that's a stigma, and there's nothing about this that's a disorder. I mean, our minds were injured when we went overseas. We
Hmm.
saw things that we shouldn't have seen, and we can't unsee them. And so that damages the brain. And so, for me, if there's someone out there that's struggling with any of that, the first thing I would say is one, make sure you're okay. Make sure that ask yourself, are you okay? And if the answer is maybe, then you probably should seek some help. There's no
Right.
shame in getting help for something that you may be struggling with as far as mentally or even physically. And the other thing is don't let things go too far.
Mm.
If you're having questionable feelings about yourself or harming yourself, go out and talk to someone. That's what the 988 number is, or the crisis line number is. Someone's going to be there to talk to you. And then the last thing is, like, never, just don't give up. I mean, I
Right.
had periods in my life where I wanted to give up. I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to. And that's where the other harmful feelings come in. But there's
Sure.
always a way out. There's always hope. There's always a way out. And if I could tell any veteran, I would tell them that, never give up, because there's always somebody out there that can help you, or a service out there that can help you.
Right. Right. That's great advice. I love that. Um, yeah, there's so much out there, but it's a matter of putting pride, feelings of pride or feelings of shame
Right.
aside and
Yeah.
reaching out. And sometimes that first step is the hardest step, you know?
It was, and I'll share this with you too, just for your audience. I took my PTSI feelings and I bottled them up for 4 or 5 years, and I
Mhm.
didn't have them put it in my records because I felt like there was a stigma that existed that was going to stop me from getting command or stop me from getting promoted. I've had command 3 times. I got promoted, um, and I'm just fine. And we have that. The courage comes when you actually just acknowledge the fact that there's something wrong and that
Mhm.
you need to get some help for it. And general officers and higher senior enlisted people, um, are going through the same things that some of our junior soldiers and junior officers are going through. We went through war. We've been at war for like over 20 years.
Mhm.
That is a factor, and you have to come to grips with it and then get the help that you need. And that's real. The true courage is not the guy out there, you know fighting the war and everything. The true courage is when you come home and you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, am I okay?
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's great advice. Thank you, Mike, for sharing. Um, okay. So, before you go, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I so appreciate it. Can you tell us where people can find and connect with you and how they can find out more information on the MBA? If you could just shout out the website again for
Yeah,
our
sure.
folks.
The website for the MBA is mymbaglobal.com, and that's mymbaglobal.com. Great
Okay,
place to look at your fellow military veterans and active duty play some basketball.
awesome. And where, if people want to connect with you, can they go to that website
They
and,
can absolutely go to that website, or
okay,
they can email me at commissioner@mymbaglobal.com. That's commissioner, COMMISSIONER ISSIONER at mymbaglobal.com.
Okay, great. That's great information. Mike, this has been amazing. Thank you so much. And can't wait to check out the documentary and can't wait to see the game. How
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah. I hope you come out in person. We're not too far from you.
I know. You're in Philly, right? Playing?
We're in Philly, Philadelphia. So
Yeah, I'll check out my schedule.
yes,
Not
ma'am.
sure.
Thanks so much.
um, thanks so much. Appreciate your time today. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Tactical Treasures Podcast. We've just finished up an amazing conversation with Mike Meyers, who is a retired 23-year Army combat veteran and is now the CEO and founder of the Military Basketball Association, where he serves as the current commissioner. The Military Basketball Association is a 501c3 and was founded in 2017 to promote the military athlete. They support volunteers and players and teams around the world. Every year, the MBA organizes and hosts local and national events to bring awareness to the many behavioral health concerns that face veterans every day. Teams qualify and compete to determine the best installation in men's and women's military basketball. The finals have been an excellent volunteer opportunity for members of the community to interact and support military veterans from all services around the nation and the world. The MBA seeks to educate communities on the challenges and stigmas regarding post traumatic stress and strongly advocate for intervention in the alarming rate of veteran suicides. Their mission is life through basketball as they seek to offer positive opportunities to those who serve and continue to serve our great nation. They have a few exciting events coming up in May. May 1st, you can check out the documentary Life Through Basketball on Amazon Prime. And also on May 25th, the CBS network will air the championship game. Women's will be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8 p.m. Eastern will be the men's championship game. So you can definitely check that out. And that is even happening in Philadelphia. So if you're in the area, consider purchasing a ticket and checking it out. And you can find all this information, apply if you are a military veteran or active duty and play basketball. You can apply to be a part of the league, or to donate, you can go to mymbaglobal.com. And to reach out to Mike personally, you can email him at commissioner, COMMISSIONER, at mymbaglobal.com. Again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, you can find Tactical Treasures podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms. American Grit, our website, jdogpodcast.com, as well as our dedicated YouTube channel. We are also airing on Reese Across America Radio on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you miss it, please be sure to join us for the encore on Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also find Reese Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, and the Odyssey app. We are also proud to share that our JDog Foundation is a Reese Across America sponsorship group. For each $17 Veterans Wreath you sponsor, $5 goes directly back to the JDog Foundation, whose mission is to prevent veteran suicide and heal veterans' mental health and PTS. You can donate right now at reachacrossamerica.org/JDog. Again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again on another podcast real soon. Bye-bye now.